My name is Joe Honeycutt, and the company our team selected for the final project is Nestle. We decided on Nestle because it is a global company with an expansive yet interesting supply chain. Nestle's size is almost hard to imagine. They have upwards of 300,000 employees and operate in 189 countries. The company regularly brings in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of revenue yearly, and profits exceed $10 billion. They own hundreds of factories and distribution centers across the globe, bringing their total assets to $200 billion. They work with over 700,000 farmers, who supply them with the necessary ingredients for Nestle's products. Speaking of products, Nestle has over 10,000 individual products that are sold under the umbrella of 2,000 brand names. Because of the sheer size of the network they operate, Nestle's move towards sustainability has the potential to positively influence the entire globe. However, in order to better understand an entity the size of Nestle and how they operate today, it's important to consider the history of the company. Founder Henry Nestle established the company in 1867 in Switzerland. He originally saw the market for baby food as some mothers were unable to breastfeed, and turned his idea into the company that today we know as Nestle. After finding success in baby food, Nestle then moved on to add condensed milk to its product line. As the years went on, Nestle expanded through acquiring other companies and merging with competitors. This allowed them to get into all sorts of businesses, from cosmetics to pharmaceuticals, and allowed them to become what they are today in terms of size as well as product diversity.
From one location to another, as it makes its way from the beginning of a supply chain to the eventual destination, which its customers handle. This requires a new brand look at the business of transportation supply chain, including supply chain management, logistics, and procurement. Efficiency of the rail fleet is critical to the further expansion of Nestle's enterprise. Eco-friendly and reduced highway volumes, as shown on the slide, all of which are considered vital to maintain Nestle's competitive position in the marketplace. According to the Transportation and Distribution Department of Nestle, in 2016, the company transports on a daily basis over 140,000 tons of products from over 1,600 warehouses. Transportation is a key logistics function, and it's critical to supply chain performance. To meet the strong requirements of the supply chain, the strategy should be dynamic. It must be responsive both as to service and cost demands. In our case, our chosen company uses the shipment via distribution center with inventory storage. Storing product at transitional location can be explained if transportation requires large shipments on the inbound side. Let's look at the description where steps are represented. First, the product comes from supplier to distribution center, where it's stored in inventory. Aftermath is shipped to each buyer location. As we discussed the specific strategy that Nestle uses, let's move to the advantages and disadvantages of the strategy. At first, affordable inflow and outflow transportation costs through consolidation. This can be classified by the fact that distribution centers serve locally and outbound shipment expenditure is not very large. On the other hand, while inbound and outbound can be relatively cheap, the distribution center might be pricey. Let's look at the example where it can be costly, for example, to support the inventory and supervision at distribution centers.
Because the company uses all types of distribution, Nestle is able to significantly increase sustainability in a number of ways. However, sustainability has not always been at the forefront of Nestle's agenda. Back in 2010, the company was criticized for its treatment of farmers it sources its products from. It was accused of underpaying the farmers and treating them like second-class citizens. As a result of this, many people started a movement to boycott Nestle. This led the company to begin a big movement towards sustainability, and they even committed to being landfill-free by the year 2020. They also treat their workers much better and support the local communities around where they operate. They make sure that no farms that they purchase from use slash and burn deforestation, and that they do not support farms that use child labor. Indeed, the company is moving in the right direction, and the supply chain is definitely at the forefront of their sustainability efforts, with new things like reusable packaging being implemented each day.
After overviewing Nestle's sustainability, let's look at some strategies within the organization. So, what makes a supply chain sustainable? Sustainable supply chain requires more than just following the law, meet standards, or increasing transparency. It is more than getting better to itself or to another supply chain. These are all good, and such effort must continue. But to determine if a supply chain is sustainable or not, we need some external environmental and social points. Well, Nestle has identified the most relatively vital strategy, which is route optimization. First of all, the basis for route optimization is the use of models to describe the transportation network that needs to be planned. When building a model, overall network needs to be defined, ensuring that all the data is included, such as regulations or highway problems. And secondly, can be explained as maximum utilization during the strategic distribution. After establishment a policy on environmental sustainability in 1991, they worked a lot on new innovative ideas concerning packaging and recycling. So far, Nestle has been consistently reducing the weight of the packaging for over 500 million kilograms. Other super innovative thing is related to software approach on environmental sustainability, where in 2011, the Nestle has launched a smartphone app that navigates people how to appropriately recycle waste.
Sustainability, like any other business decision, is an investment for Nestle. To reduce transportation costs and the impact of transportation on the planet, Nestle should invest in the infrastructure of their supply chain. To reduce emissions of the transportation, Nestle can invest in new fuel sources for trucks, trains, and ships. One of these new fuel sources are electric trucks, which could be powered by renewable sources such as solar or wind power. Another way to reduce transportation costs is to reduce transportation itself by investing in facilities that are closer to farmers and end users. This also decreases lead times and lowers farm-to-consumer times. For Nestle to be successful with their sustainability improvements, they will need to base solutions and improvements based on each market, like how they make new products based on the individual market in the Better Business the Nestle way. Each part of the supply chain in different countries and regions will be different. If they invest in fuel sources in one market, they may not be able to acquire them in another without shipping it there at a great cost, while another fuel source was already available in that market. Any decision that is made should be done after researching the area and market thoroughly and making an assessment of the needs for that region and what Nestle can do to improve it. There will not be one solution that fits perfectly in all areas of the supply chain, but there will be a solution for each area of the supply chain that best meets the needs of Nestle and their suppliers. It can also help their suppliers be sustainable as well. They can help their smaller farmers that cannot afford to purchase new equipment that is more efficient by offering to rent it to them or lease it to them or supplement the cost for the new equipment so that their suppliers can be more productive and have less environmental impact. Nestle can also help their suppliers by investing in the infrastructure for the suppliers to transport to Nestle facilities, such as building railways or roads where there are none so that the farmers can reduce times to transport products. Like all of the other improvements, Nestle will have to base their decisions on the factors present in each market to create a supply chain that is sustainable for generations to come.